So last Monday, I posted a choose your own adventure video where I had asked you guys to make a choice of whether or not you would stand by your government or form a new nation with the top 1%. Now, if you've not seen that video, I would highly encourage you to stop watching this and go and check it out so you can get a different perspective. Now, a few of you actually thought this was a trick question, but it wasn't. It was actually a scenario that's already happened. I just took out the concept of war because today we use information and media to get a desired outcome before going straight into a physical battle. So if you chose 99, you would have been considered a loyalist. You would have chosen Britain. If you chose 1, you would have been part of the colonial rebellion. But I assume that most of you chose 99 because you were for the people, the idealism behind the founding of America. But that's all it was an idea. And I'm going to tell you what they don't teach you in history class by breaking it down into 3 parts, just like the branches of our government. But before I continue, let me be clear. I'm not a liberal, definitely not a conservative. Honestly, there isn't really a party that stands for what I do, at least not one that has demonstrated it, which is principles, morals, equal treatment, and transparency. Something this country is very much lacking right now because that's how it began. The opening of our Constitution states, "We the people," except what wasn't written was people literally only meant 6% of the population. It was free adult men, property owning, no debt whatsoever, and in many states belonging to a particular church. And if you did not qualify to those terms, you were not considered part of the people. You had no rights. You could not vote. You had no say in government, no freedom of speech, no due process. So, to put that in today's terms, you'd have to be making at least $250,000 individually after expenses, or you had no power. And as race obviously did matter, it was more about class because if you lived in the northern states and you met those terms, you could vote despite race. So, for all you extremists out there that want to use the word white and power together, well, if your disposable income's under 250,000, you were not considered any more fit than a woman or a slave. You had no power for the first 25% of this country's existence. And guess what? The only thing that's changed is a greater illusion of the philosophy. Because even though 70% of Americans can technically vote, it's really only the 5 to 10% of America today that actually has any political influence or power. The division is not about political parties. It never has been. As Ben Franklin stated, without equal application of the laws, society would fracture into 2 tiers, the favored and the oppressed. And that is exactly what has happened. How? Well, I'm going to be sharing that in part 2. So if you want to learn about the true history of America, make sure to follow. And I'm also going to be sharing how we can help change it as well.